The two paths were given. So based on that, some contemplation which we are doing. Um, do I take on more activities than is necessary? So this finding that balance for a sadhaka is important. So although we talk here and say that, karma yoga, some people have qualified, karma sannyasa, some people are qualified. But ideally, that paths, these are the two different paths, paths of outward action for purification and the path of inner turning within, pravritti and nivritti. So this is a balance we all need. So we have to ask ourselves, I'm able to withdraw from activities that are not useful or necessary. Again, what is the context of useful? When we say what is useful, it is from that point of our higher pursuit, from the point of our ultimate liberation. So, from that perspective, when we look at it, many activities we engage in life are somewhat like somewhat unnecessary. On the other hand, do I tend to relinquish my necessary duties and responsibilities? That is a we have to ask ourselves. Am I like trying to escape away from duties? So there is always a we alone. If we have inner resistance, we can only judge that. It's hard for somebody to decide for us these things. How can I learn to balance what I need to do from what I have to do? So these are always the questions we have to ask. What do I need to do? Um, there is always that thing, there is an idea that I have to do this, but we don't necessarily have to do many things. So there is always that question that we have to. It seems like the society and others sometimes creates that pressure for us, people, society. See, this is why we always seek the help and guidance of guru and shastras, because they give us the higher perspective for our ultimate happiness. Society will give you only a relative, even if they are well wishers, their knowledge is limited. So whom do we ask for advice is very always important. That if you ask from somebody who has relative wisdom, they will direct you in that relative path of pravritti only. How can I, ideally, this is the thing, how can I engage fully in action while maintaining inner detachment? So this is the ultimate goal and the ultimate question we have to keep asking as far as our daily life actions are concerned. So we have to always check within ourselves. Am I able to engage in action yet maintain a sense of inner detachment? So this is the essence of karma yoga. Okay. Okay, so we are looking now at this chapter, and this chapter, as I had mentioned before, it is very few points. It's just like a summarizing also of the chapter 3 and 4 points, but taking it also to a higher level. And so we will, not deliberate too much on each of those points. But the discussion has now come across to this point. What are the stages? I briefly mentioned. uh, should I pursue sannyasa, karma sannyasa, or should I pursue karma yoga? This is the question Arjuna is asking. So which one is better? Which path is better path for me? And he's also hoping that the path which is better for me is what Bhagavan will say is the ultimate path. This is also, people have this notion, like the generally what is good, what is Shastra saying generally. Let us say Shastra says karma yoga is better or karma sannyasa is better. Then they think it's for everybody. No, it is not like that. It is always like, these instructions are personalized. So this is why you will see in Bhagavad Gita, many instructions are there. Sometimes for bhakti yoga, from karma yoga. So that each one has different adhikaratva, eligibility. So the idea is that the one who has come to that stage of life, who has purified his life through through actions, not seeking results, but actions has that Ishwara Arpana Buddhi. The one who has done in that sense, that person is qualified to renounce. There is nothing that will bind him or her. Especially when we say, when they come to that stage, when they're ready to take that third ashrama or the fourth ashrama. Okay, so this is the gradual shift is what? The stages, the gradual stages I told you. The first stage, a normal person who is in the world, he's encouraged. Shastras also encourages that person. So in the Vedic tradition and all, the Shastras will say, if you have desires, then fine, you do these rituals, these things, and you work according to the Vedic rituals. So there are a lot of pujas, homas, and all that. In traditional Indian families, you will see this. We will have a lot of these homas, pujas, and all that because so many desires are there, so many kind of expectations are there from family, from others. Like if a couple, they married, they want them to have a nice place, a house, then the parents or they will expect when will you have children. So then there's a ritual they will do, homa they will do. Then they will do other things. When the child is born, the child has to be in such a way. So the family has more expectations, right? And everybody is thinking that society also will say that. So the desire driven actions, they also can be purified through this aspect of seeking Lord's grace and doing the rituals for different devatas. And that is the desire prompted activities. Then slowly, as a person gets a little understanding and maturity, he's told that don't be like the society. You try to do actions without expecting results, because then you will get peace of mind and you will have a better state of mind. So this is the nishkama seva, nishkama bhava, the sakama bhava to nishkama bhava, the shift in attitude. The same work you can do, or of course philanthropic work, but whatever work you do without expecting results. So this is the second stage we discussed. And the third stage of that is that person is now qualified to do upasanas. He comes to the next state of Vedic things where can do sadhana. He can also seek jnana. We can study like how we are all seeking. And thus we make it a priority, meaning you carve out a time and even make this as a priority. You realize that the worldly results are limited. At the most, I will get for this life. Then the other results, other actions I do, they are for other lives and ultimately for my liberation. So you focus, you redirect, you reprioritize your life according to the sadhanas, your life priorities changes. And then finally comes the karma sannyasa. That person is now reached that state of internal purification, that sense of attachment, that sense of even following all those things, the rituals, the homas, and the expectations of societies and all that is not there anymore. So that person can take karma sannyasa, meaning whether he does it as a literal thing like vanaprastha or sannyasa, or he does it as an internal thing. He doesn't engage too much. He's not so much. Even today in cities I go visit, sometimes I see people, who have somewhat withdrawn from a lot of society activities, and then they keep to bare minimum, and then they focus on a lot of other activities. Okay, but that is still not the ultimate goal of where Bhagavad Gita and all Shastras are telling us. The ultimate goal is what? Whatever actions you do through knowledge, through that wisdom, you are getting to karma sannyasa. That we discussed. How do you establish through wisdom that nature of karma sannyasa? What do you have to let go? The establishing karma sannyasa through jnana. How is that done?
Katrutva, let go,
Ah,
katrutva.
renouncing kartrutva, doership. When through, and how is kartrutva renounced? Huh? Is it through some meditation or through some action?
Through knowledge itself.
Yeah, very good. Through knowledge. So kartrutva is renounced through knowledge, through wisdom. Bhoktrutva can be renounced through other methods and yogas and all that. Kartrutva is renounced. And so that is the ultimate. That is a jnana karma sannyasa yoga. Then it doesn't matter whether you are a king or a sannyasi or a non-worldly person, whatever. Worldly activities. Because that jnana, that knowledge is there. What you do, you are not attached. What you do, there is no doership in there. The kartrutva is not there. And that is established through knowledge. Okay, so this is now the foundation on which this whole chapter will function. All the shlokas will be looked at this perspective. Now there are basically Arjuna's question was that you are telling me about the karma yoga, and then you talked about karma sannyasa. Third chapter was karma sannyasa. Third chapter was karma yoga. Fourth chapter was jnana karma sannyasa. Now of these two, which one is the better path? So he's expecting also a universal answer, but Bhagavan gives an answer based on his abilities and the 95% of the human population kind of, capacity. That is the answer that he gives. And he says that both are the paths to liberation. Both karma sannyasa and karma yoga lead to liberation. But for you and for the majority, the karma yoga is a better path. Doing the path of karma yoga is a most conducive path. So that now we will look at, we have already looked at it, where we looked at the Bhashya also, where Shankaracharya does mention that there are karma sannyasa for a jnani is different from karma sannyasa for an ajnani. The karma sannyasa for a jnani is that he realizes that the essence of Atma is actionless. It is nishkriya. It doesn't do anything. The Atma is already free from actions. So that realization itself is enough for him. But for another person, normal person, if he wants to go, if he has the ability, then he takes karma sannyasa as an outward path also. This is the path of nivritti, sometimes we say. So all of us also do it, like not just sannyasis. We also take time, right? Like when we come to spiritual paths, we take some retreats or we take some time for ourselves during the day. So that is in a way like karma sannyasa thing. But if one who takes formally as a lifestyle altogether, that person is called as a like a what we call the normal sannyasis today, who are in ochre clothes and all that. So that person, that kind of an aspect is not necessarily the way for moksha for most people, because they have to go through the chitta shuddhi. And how does that happen? So here Bhagwan doesn't give a general Vedic version of karma, of sakarma sannyasa. He redefines karma sannyasa. He defines sannyasa itself, redefines. And this is why, we say sometimes now Bhagavad Gita is a kind of an old text and all they say, right? But from the perspective of Veda, Bhagwan already kind of modernized the Vedic teachings in Bhagavad Gita. Meaning he already he transformed the traditional Vedic version of rituals and other things. We already saw this in the yajnas. Many of the yajnas are not the traditional fire yajnas. Many of the yajnas Bhagwan described were internal practices, which were different kind of yogas in the last chapter. So similarly here, sannyasa also is like that. Bhagwan doesn't take a traditional Vedic way of sannyasa. He redefines the sannyasa here in this one. Okay, so let us see this shlokas. So first, so this we already saw. Bhagwan started this. Shri Bhagavan Vacha. He says both karma sannyasa and the yoga, yoga of karma yoga, they are leading to the liberation or highest bliss. But of the two, tayostu karma sannyasat, of those two, of before more than karma sannyasa, the karma yoga is a better path for you. Now let us look at the shlokas together. Okay, maybe we can start from here again. You all can repeat after me. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha
Bhagavanuvacha
Shri Bhagavan
Sannyasa Karma Yogascha
Sannyasa karma
Sannyasa karma
yogascha
yogascha
Nishreya Sakaravubhav
Nishreyasa karamubhav
Tayostu Karma Sannyasat
Tayostu
Tayostu
karma
karma
sannyasat
Karma Yogo Vishishyate
Karma
karma
yogo
yogo
vishishyate
vishishyate
Niyasa Nitya Sannyasi
Nyeyasa nitya
nitya
Sanitya
sannyasi
sannyasi.
sannyasi
Yo na dveshti na kankshati
Yo
Yona
na drishti na
drishti na
kamshati.
kakshati
tati
Nirdvando hi mahabaho
Nirdvando hi
Nirdvando
mahabhaho.
mahabaho
Sukham bandhat pramuchyate
sukham
Sukham
bandhat
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 pramuchyate
pramuchyate.
pramuchyate
Sankhya yoga pratak palaha
Sankhya
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 yoga
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 pruthak
pratapala.
pala
pratapala
pravadanti na panditaha
pravadanti
Pravadanti
na
Pravadantina
na
panditaha
panditaha
panditaha.
ekamapyastitah samyak
ekamapyastita
Ekamapyastitha
samyak
Ekamapyastita
samyak
samya.
ubayorvindate phalam
Ubhayorvindate
Ubhayorvindate
vindate phalam
phalam.
phalam
yet sankhyev prapyate sthanam
Yat
yasankye
sankhyaye
prapyate
prapyate
sthanam
sthanam
Pratyanam.
tadyogairapi tadyogairapi gamyate
yogairapi
Tadyogairapi
gamyate
Yogairapiganyate.
gamyate
ekam sankyam cha yogam cha
ekam
Ekam
sankhya
sankhyan
cha
cha
yogam
yogam
cha
cha
Cha.
yef pashyati sa pashyati
Ya
yapashyati sa
Yapashyati
pashyate sa
pashyati
pashyate.
sapashyati
sannyaasastu mahabaho
sannyāsastu
Sannyasastu
Sannyasastu
mahabāho
mahabaho
mahabaho.
dukkhamaptu mayogataha
dukkhamaptu
Dukkamaptu
Dukkhamaptu
mayogataha
mayogataha
mayogataha.
yoga yukto munir brahma
yoga
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 yukto
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 munir
munir
brahma
brahma
nirbrahma.
nachirena gacchati.
Nachirena
nachirena
Nachirenadichyati.
gacchati
Okay, so now we are looking at the Bhagavan's description on explaining why does he say that karma yoga is a better path for the majority. So here he says, Jneyasa nitya sannyasi yona dvesti na kankshati. So there is a nitya sannyasi. Nitya sannyasi means like a permanent sannyasi, perpetual sannyasi. One who is always a sannyasi, meaning a somebody who has mentally attained that state of sannyasi. So, such a person, what is the characteristic of such a person? So, he is like what is called as a yogi. What is it? Yona dvesti na kankshati. So, this he is free from any kind of cravings and aversion. What is also called as raga dvesha. So such a person is free from all sense of raga dvesha. And he is a nitya sannyasi, meaning he doesn't need to wear the clothes of a sannyasi. He doesn't need to go through the rituals to become a sannyasi, nor does he have to leave everything to become a sannyasi. internally in his mental attitude, he is qualified to be called as a sannyasi. So that same word Bhagavan also used for a yogi. Anybody remembers where is this yogi was mentioned? What is the thing that was used? Yogi is also reached the state, free from these kind of dualities, nirdvando. Okay, it came before. So the definition of yoga was given there. Samatvam yoga uchyate. The person who has reached that state of samatvam, he's called a yogi. So similarly here, a nitya sannyasi, that same person, that same karma, that yogi is now called as a nitya sannyasi. So again, we have to understand here, in the commentators mention this point. A nitya sannyasi is a man of constant renunciation, or ever established in a renunciation, meaning he may not have realized that ultimate truth yet, but through his actions, through his behaviors, through his sadhana, he has stabilized in that state of equanimity. So equanimity doesn't mean that he doesn't have ups and downs in life, he doesn't have sorrows. He does experience sorrows, he does experience happiness and all that, but yet he has established a mental attitude of not getting carried away by them, because that higher vision of life has already been set in him. So he's what is called as he has a higher qualification for wisdom. He's already on that state where he is very well qualified. So in his mind and in his life, there may be ups and downs that comes and goes, but internally his reaction is always stable. He is not carried away by those things. And it was also mentioned, how does it come? That also is through yoga. He learns to work skillfully. Yoga karmasu kaushalam. So that is also the definition for karma yoga. The one who learns to work skillfully, doing action skillfully. That person is also established in the yoga. So now what has happened is Bhagwan here is saying, see the other words here was Nirdvandvo hi Mahabhavo. He is not kind of shaken by the dualities. The ups and downs, the life's experiences are always like that, right? One day you are happy, one day you are sad, one day good things happen, one day bad things happen. So this you cannot control. This is not like, always in our control. But our mental attitude to this, that we have control over. How do we react? How do we respond? So through the wisdom and through practice. So here it is mainly through practice. The person practices that wisdom in his daily life. Again and again, he practices that wisdom. He gets something good, he doesn't get over elated. He gets something bad, he's not over elated. Everything comes and goes, right? The one day people might praise you, the other day something they may find fault in you. So we cannot control these things, but our reaction to that is in our control. Sukham bandhat pramuchyate. That person is freed from that samsara. Because what is samsara? Samsara is this constant waves of up and down. Our life, our daily life is this constant waves of things happening. Sometimes somebody wants something from you, so they'll be with you. Sometimes they don't want from you, they don't want you around. So this is how the world responds. It is all based on the vyavahara, right? So that kind of attitude of that world we cannot change, but we can attain that happiness. That sukham. Sukham here means like he is able to easily stabilize in that state where he is not affected by the ups and downs of the samsara. Okay, so this point now is important, because he is now going to establish that the path of sannyasa sometimes we talk about. This is sometimes established also as an escapism, like even in our life, right? Like sometimes you hear people say this, oh, this is not working for me, that is not working for me. Like, the traditional story I tell you, that person who comes and asks for sannyasa to one of the sages. And that sage asks, like, okay, where have you been? What happened? So that person says, oh, I lost my job. I don't have any job now. And then he says, okay, what do you want to do? I want to take sannyasa. Then he says again, what happened? What else is happening with your family and all that? Oh, I don't have family. My wife left me and went. Oh, I don't have family too. I don't have job. So then that guru tells him, like, life, everything has left you. What sannyasa will you take? But things have already left you. You should have something to renounce, right? Like if everything has left you, then you can't be a sannyasi. Huh? So same thing here. Huh? That is that state that is coming from raga dvesha. Huh? You want to let go of things because it is problematic. It is not working out. Huh? We will give in. That is a sign of weakness. Huh? So the sannyasi and the person who comes to that stent of ultimate sannyasa, that word sannyasa, is that putting down everything. Some is everything. Some nyasaha. So that the renouncing, completely letting go, renouncing. So that is has to be an attitude of the mind, even for everybody. That ability to let go of our attachments, let go of our extreme likes and dislikes. That is the real qualification of a sadhaka, and that qualification is essential for outer sannyasa, if at all somebody takes it. So here again, that is what Bhagavan is trying to tell us. Yona dvesti na kankshati, you cannot escape. And especially as a sadhaka, the strength comes not by escaping. Strength comes by facing the challenges, right? Mental strength. So that is the power, that is the yoga path. The yoga path is based on strengthening the mind. So here now he compares that. Now he suddenly switches. He uses the word Sankhya. He says there are two paths. Until now he was saying karma sannyasa and karma yoga. Now he says Sankhya yoga. So two paths he says. There is a path of karma yoga and then there's a path of Sankhya yoga. Sankhya yoga, where did it come? Bhagavad Gita?
Second chapter.
Very good. Second chapter, Sankhya Yoga was given. So the lot of knowledge, the path which discussed about the high knowledge was given. So that is the path of knowledge was pointed out. Now Bhagavan says that Sankhya Yoga is a path of knowledge, and the yoga, karma yoga, is a path of practice, the path of yoga in our applying in our daily life. Now, if we think that these two are two different paths, Pratak Balaha. Bala means that people who don't have that maturity. Bala literally means children, but don't have the mental maturity. They might have studied the Shastras, but they are just like repeating what the Shastra says without wisdom. So the Shastras does say that the path of knowledge is the path to wisdom, is path to realization. So, but Bhagavan here, as I mentioned to you, he is redefining the Vedas in a much more simpler way. So he says that he's picking up the essence, right? Sarvopanishado Gavo, we all chanted in the beginning. Sarvopanishado Gavo Dogdha Gopalanandana. The essence of Upanishad is what? It is not like these two are different paths altogether. Why? Because ekamapi astitaha samyak. Ubayor vindati phalam. The result of both of them, the final destination of both of them is that moksha. Whether we come on the path of karma yoga or on the path of knowledge, the final destination is that moksha, is that realization of self, is the realization of supreme reality. So you may take different paths, but the ultimate destination we are all going is the same. That is the perspective of the whole of Bhagavad Gita. Ultimately, but there is a caveat here. What is that? that is that path of karma yoga, it doesn't directly lead to moksha. This is especially from the Vedanta teachings. We say that the path of karma yoga is a sequentially going to lead us to moksha. So it builds us that qualification, and that qualification is essential for knowledge, we say. So that is where, this difference. The wise people see this. They have this, wise people have this vision. What is the vision? Yet Sankhyo prapyate sthanam. That ultimate destination that the Sankhya takes us to. That same destination. That tad yogairapi gamyate. Yoga also goes there. Mhm. How? So we were discussing this. When we talk of Sankhya, the knowledge. Knowledge does what? Knowledge is essential for removing that kartrutva bhavana, that I am the doer, that I, that little self, that I, that ego, I am doing everything, and through this, that is happening. So this kind of a mentality where there is a sense of personal claim over everything that is happening, especially if it is good. Then there is a personal claim for that. uh, and then from there comes all this kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya, especially mada. That pride will come from there. And that pride establishes always in that limited sense of identity for us. But before coming to even removing kartrutva, we have to be able to remove bhoktrutva sometimes, for most people. So how do we remove bhoktrutva? So for removing bhoktrutva means what? What is removing bhoktrutva? Are all of you clear? Can somebody tell me what is removing, being free from bhoktrutva?
The sense of I am the enjoyer.
Correct. So that when we say from karma yoga perspective, what is that? How are we removing bhoktrutva in karma yoga through doing karma yoga? That enjoyership.
By renouncing the fruits of action.
Yes, by renouncing the fruits of action, not being attached to specific results, good or bad. So that kind of a notion removes bhoktrutva. So how do we do that? So that is based on practicing the samatva here. Bhagavan says, right? Yona dvesti na kankshati, the one who doesn't get overly attached and nor has too much aversion. Hmm? So this is not aversion just to people. Of course, that is also sometimes necessary, but sometimes people interpret it just like that. I should not hate anybody. I should not. It is more towards results of life, our expectations of life. We will do our actions, but what we get, if we don't get that, then I will walk away from that. So that is a very seen in a companies and all. That's how people work, right? Of course, there, the bosses are also like that, so you can't blame employees. But the idea is that, if when we come as a sadhaka, all work is purifying, especially for me, like in the ashrams and all, the first thing what they do, they put you to seva if you come, especially to join, why? Because that seva is helping you to cultivate that attitude of samatva. Whether anybody praises you, you don't get special benefits, like especially in ashrams. So in the workplace we expect that I do so much, I should get so much results. If they don't give me, I will quit, or I will complain or do something like that, right? So there, from a worldly point, that's fine, but this is why, that seva bhavana, doing some seva, is always helping us develop that samatva. If nobody praises me, in ashrams, like when we are there, just because I do more seva, I don't get a bigger meal. Like everybody gets the meal, I'll get that same meal. So so that is the idea. The result of what I do. Uh, Meaning the idea is not like just, I was just joking here, but the idea is that seva bhavana, wherever I go, whatever I do, I have to Like even in, that what the roles we do, like in ashrams also, the roles are given. You do this role, you do that role. That role is not dependent. You will not get a better role because you have, you can do this better or whatever is the training. So that same thing we have to apply for ourselves in our daily lives. That is the point. So we have to monitor and apply in our daily lives that whatever I'm doing, I'm not expecting that kind of I'm not attached to that results at bhoktrutva bhavana. Huh? Okay, so now here, yet sankyam prapyate sthanam tad yogairapi gamyate. Ekam sankyam cha yogam cha yaf pashyati sa pashyati. So he concludes by saying that one who has that knowledge, that wisdom, ekam sankyam yogam, who is able to see this? The one who has that eagle view of these paths. See, if somebody is attached even to saying that this is the only path I will take, I will not take any other path. I will not, because I am interested in yoga, I will not interested in jnana. Because I am interested in bhakti, I don't want any jnana. So, not that person is stuck, attached in that thing. Yaf pashyati sa pashyati. The one who can see is the one who really sees. Meaning, the one who has the vision, the one who has as I say, we lose the perspective of the forest by focusing on the trees. Like when we are up on there also, we are just looking at the trees, we forget that forest, we don't see that forest. So the one who has that full vision, through that understanding, through that jnana, the one who has a full vision, he sees these things. He can see both the trees and the forest. So this point here is where, uh, uh, where it is that the two are compared. Now, one thing, if we have noticed, that word sannyasa has been replaced by Sankhya here. So in the Bhashya, there is a discussion. Why has this happened? Why has Bhagavan here replaced Sankhya for sannyasa? So, see, the karma sannyasa is equated to Sankhya more because the path of nivritti, which the Sankhya is doing, Sankhya is what the path of knowledge is trying to help us come to that realization of true self. So we don't see outer thing, we see the reality, the inner reality. So the idea here is that the yaf pashyati, I mean the when we equate Sankhya to karma sannyasa, then what happens? That question that Arjuna had asked before at the beginning of the 3rd chapter. Anybody remembers what was the question he had asked at the beginning of the 3rd chapter? Okay, I mentioned in the last class.
Why do you urge me to do the superior to action? Why do you urge me to do the dreadful action?
But what was the main two things he had compared there?
If you consider the knowledge and action, why do you ask me to do action?
Correct. So the knowledge and action were compared. So here, although we are talking about karma sannyasa, Bhagavan is equating that question to the previous question only. Just with the new terminologies, the previous question. So the Sankhya here, what is Sankhya about? So Sankhya here is the path of knowledge. Knowledge of what? Knowledge of the Brahman, knowledge of the supreme reality. So in that sense, the word sannyasa, sannyasa is also can be taken as Brahman or abiding in that Brahman. This is what the Bhashya says, that establishing in Brahman. So sannyasa, Sankhya, Brahman are all like somewhat like synonyms from this perspective. So So from this perspective, that's when he talk about Sankhya, he's talking about establishing in Brahman. So yoga becomes a means to Brahman. Yoga is the means to that qualification of sannyasa or knowledge, and with that you are establishing in Brahman. So then that is why he now mentions this point to come to that state of Brahman. Sannyasastu mahabaho. Attaining that state of Brahman, attaining that state of knowledge, it is not an easy thing. Why it is not easy? Because we have so much, we discussed last time. We don't even not just have ignorance, we have viparita jnana. We have wrong knowledge. We are embedded with wrong knowledge. So we may say, no, I know rightly, I know that this thing is a tree, I know that this thing is computer, I have so much knowledge. How are you saying this is wrong knowledge? We have wrong knowledge about our own self, about the reality of this world. So this part is not easily attained. Sannyasastu mahabhava dukkham aptum ayogataha. It is hard to attain unless you do yoga, unless you are establishing in yoga. And yoga here is that mostly the karma yoga through which we attain that freedom from bhoktrutva. That sense of samatva is established. Yoga yukta munir brahma. So the word Brahma is now coming, The one who is established in that state of yoga, what is he? He becomes capable to become a muni. What is a muni? Muni is generally sometimes if they say muni is one who is quiet. Muni is not just a quiet person. He is quiet without, but internally he's established in that continuous contemplation on the supreme reality. So that person who has become a nivritti, one who is established in that outer silence, but inner contemplation of self. That is a Munir Brahma, especially here the word Munir Brahma is said, right? That person who is established in that constant contemplation of that supreme Brahman. Nachirena digacchati. That state is established by one who is yoga yukta, the one who is dedicated in this karma yoga. He becomes highly qualified to. Why? Because see when the what creates problems in our life, what creates agitations in our life, that is the expectations of results. Agitation is caused because we are expecting something should happen and something should not happen. That I have, I should hold on to what I have, and that I don't have, I should attain. So this is a constant pursuit of our human life, and that kind of a agitation, when that is gone, then you are willing to contemplate on the supreme truth, on the reality. So that is the that is that knowledge here that is given. Okay. Okay. So the essence of this discussion so far is to mainly establish that path of karma yoga should not be neglected. And there is also one more discussion in the Bhashya that although this is mentioned, there is a inward implication that the Sankhya is the way to moksha. Sankhya, or the path of knowledge, is that ultimate thing. There is an implied thing, because you're trying to establish that the yoga is as good as Sankhya, means that is already implied that Sankhya is superior already. So you have to prove, right? Like for example, if somebody goes to the court, and somebody has been accused, this person has done something, and that person may not have done. So you have to establish that this person has not done that whatever criminal action or whatever. So here similarly, Sankhya is implied to be a higher path, right? So this is where from that perspective of Shastras, it is always implied like that. But for a sadhaka, the karma yoga becomes a very important path, because Karma yoga is, as we have discussed before, includes all the other sadhanas also. All these other sadhanas are something that works against our wrong knowledge, that ajnana which is established through samskaras, that wrong ignorance that is established. How is that established? Through different habits that we have cultivated of wrong knowledge. And this different habits of wrong knowledge can only be corrected by different sadhanas. So from that perspective, this has to be given importance. That person is not even ready, you know. So you will see in some, Upanishads or some other texts, where people are asked to do a lot of other sadhanas before they are even qualified to even discuss or ask about jnana yoga. Okay, and one more point, one last point, and then any of you have questions, you can ask. So the model that for karma yoga is also that one other reason why this is because that even for establishing that knowledge which will destroy that ego, that karma yoga becomes a utility, becomes a useful method, because the essence of karma yoga is what? Arpana Buddhi. You are offering everything to Bhagavan. Uh, so there, from that is from a devotional perspective, right? From a devotional perspective, we are offering everything to Lord, good, bad, everything. And whatever comes, we take it with what kind of buddhi we receive everything in life from a devotional perspective in karma yoga. Prasada Buddhi, very good. That is it's coming from Bhagavan. Good or bad, I accept as prasada for me. Meaning it is like a blessing. It is like a gift or a blessing from Bhagavan. So this, what it does, it brings such a sense of purification in us. We get a sense of very high refined mind, and that refined mind is qualified to abide in the truth. Okay, any comments, questions?
Swamiji, I have a question.
Yeah, good.
Just one doubt. The knowledge and action, I remember that I'm not sure, is it Gita class or they can't go together or something.
Right.
But here, there is a comparison, knowledge and action.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
actions with wisdom is coming from knowledge. So why do we say that knowledge and action they can't be done at the same time?
Yeah. So actually, when we say that, there is one of the biggest proposition by Shankaracharya. So the idea with there is that when we talk about action, we are talking about those karma kanda, the rituals. Those rituals which are they are usually going towards a different goal. The rituals are done with some other goal in mind. The knowledge is done with the goal of moksha in mind. So for a one who is seeking moksha, that actions will not lead directly to moksha. So your point is very good, that how do we justify then that actions that we are doing? It has to be done by wisdom. Otherwise, that action we will do wrong action. So when we are saying here from this perspective that wisdom is that guiding force in our actions, here it is not like the action that is conflicting in goal. That is why it was said, Sankhya and yoga have the same goal. So when you do these actions, then these actions are knowledge guided actions. So it comes in that sphere of almost like knowledge itself. So that actions which you do for desire, so like this is also the point, right? Like let us say you are doing actions in a worldly way, and you are taking care, you're earning money, and you're maybe looking after family, you're maybe helping also society and all that. But if you are not doing it with the goal of seeking that supreme truth, if you're not, that is why we say Ishvara Arpana Buddhi. If that is not there, then what happens? Those will give you worldly actions. And then there will be bondage again. And so good actions there will also lead you to reaping the good results. Huh? Like you do a lot of good things for the society, and the society wants to make you like a maybe like a mayor or something, and then again you're bound, right? You are stuck in that role, in that actions. So, but if you did that and said, I offer it to Bhagavan, and that was my goal. My goal was never to be a mayor. Huh? So then what happens? And of course, even there also, if you do end up becoming a mayor and there also you offer it to Bhagavan, then again you are working towards freedom. So from that perspective, that vision of knowledge, which when it guides that action, that kind of actions is not the binding actions. So the actions in a worldly sense, which are binding in nature, they are conflicting to that knowledge and knowledge guided actions. Is that clear?
Yes, yes, I understood. Thank you, Swamiji.
Of course, from a very traditional perspective, that is also said in a higher perspective of self-realization. For the ultimate realization of self, no sadhana can lead you ultimately. Why is that said? Because sadhanas like all this we are doing, like japa, dhyana, puja, all these sadhanas, they are action in nature, and they will give you at the most like a chitta shuddhi only. They will not give you direct realization of self or of God in the supreme sense. So, from that sense, knowledge is completely different. That sadhanas, all these sadhanas will not establish you in that final reality. But here, these sadhanas, these actions, which are sadhanas, they are leading to that ability, that qualification to gain and stabilize in knowledge. So, it is not like completely contradictory, but it is contradictory if you were to say that this will lead directly to moksha alone. So that is why I was explaining, even though Bhagavan says there that it will lead to that same phala. This is the argument many people say, then karma yoga is the path to moksha. They say, right, just keep doing your karma and you will reach moksha. This is a like in a moral society, this is the thing, and they say Bhagavad Gita says that. So that is again, you have already established some truth, and then you work backwards and say Bhagavad Gita says that. So in reality, when you see where Bhagavad Gita teachings is coming from, which is based on the Vedic knowledge, why is it said here karma yoga is helpful and it will lead you to that phala, that ultimate phala which through which you will get, for which the jnana is a qualifying factor. So as you said, that when that vision of jnana is there, then you do that karma, then you will reach that same jnana as the goal. But if that vision of jnana is not there and you're doing karma, like you're doing karma only to get like yoga, even the yoga paths, you're doing yoga, you want to get siddhi, samadhi, and all that. That itself will not give you to moksha also. That siddhi will make you like a good yogi, but it will not give you moksha. So that is why but now if through wisdom, when you got wisdom, you do yoga, you do meditation also. When you have that wisdom, then that meditation will help you, because the ultimate goal of why I'm doing that meditation is so that I can become established in this truth, in this knowledge. So wisdom
Swami,
guided paths. Yeah, Flavia, go ahead.
No, and then with Chitta Shuddhi, we need the scriptures, the guru,
Yeah.
and I don't know of if someone with contemplation also, if someone lives in the nature and he has
Yeah.
Chitta Shuddhi, and maybe he has also this insight of the reality. I don't know.
It is possible. That is what we say, right? There are rare individuals who who have that, but there again, we say this is from a Vedantic perspective, we say that that is not attained just in this life. So they already had some knowledge in previous life, and it just got awakened. Like a lot of stories are there, of even in Puranas like that. Hmm. And modern day also, we know like people like Ramana Maharshi and all, right? Like they awakened to that without a personal guru. But they do also take as an impersonal gurus, from a Vedic, from our things, we say Dakshinamurti. These the first Adi Guru kind of thing. And he doesn't need to have a form. He can in silence impart that truth. And through or any nimitta, like for Ramana Maharshi, Arunachala mountain was was like, his guru or god or something. So like that, they will have that kind of ability. But that point you mentioned before, they already have very high degree of chitta shuddhi. So just a little pointer by that personal or impersonal guru is enough for them. So only for some of us who are so hard-headed, we need a physical guru, and sometimes even more than one guru. Okay. Okay. We'll leave it at this. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva
Shishyate.
Om Shanti
Shanti, shanti, shanti.
Om Namo Narayana. Namaste. Thank you.